Have you ever heard about the queen who was bold enough to lead armies, conquer lands, and make history in a time when women were barely allowed to speak in council? No be small thing oh. Queen Amina of Zazzau, her name alone carries power. But her story? It's the kind of story that makes you wonder, how could one person achieve so much? Well, let me take you back, way back, to a time when the Hausa kingdoms were alive with trade, culture, and ambition. Imagine this, the sun is just rising over the savannah, painting the land in gold. The air is crisp, and the world is waking up. Far in the distance, you hear the steady rhythm of horse hooves. And there she is, Amina, on her majestic horse, dressed in armor that glints in the sunlight. Her eyes sharp, her posture firm, she's not just riding, she's leading. Behind her, an entire army follows. Men who would rather die than let her down, because they believe in her vision. Imagine that. A queen leading men into battle, not from the back but right there in the front. Bold, fearless, unstoppable. But Amina wasn't just about war, no. Her story is deeper than swords and victories. She wanted more than power, she wanted a legacy. A future where Zazzau would stand tall and her people would thrive. And trust me, she didn't come to play. She built walls that still stand today and expanded her kingdom beyond what anyone thought was possible. All this in a time when people said women were meant to just sit in the background. Amina said, "Not me." This is the story of a woman who refused to let tradition define her. A woman who didn't just rule, she redefined what it meant to be a leader. So, my people, make yourselves comfortable. Let me take you on this journey into the life of the warrior queen of Zazzau. Amina's mother, Queen Bakwa, was a strong and wise woman. She believed that a ruler should be more than just someone who sits on a throne. A ruler should understand the people, know their struggles, and be ready to defend them at all costs. She raised Amina with this belief, teaching her not just the traditions of the Hausa people but also the importance of courage, wisdom, and fairness. Amina absorbed these lessons like a sponge. Her mother would often say to her, "Amina, strength is not just in the body but also in the mind. A sharp mind can conquer what a sword cannot." And Amina took those words to heart. But Amina wasn't just about learning words of wisdom. She was action-oriented. By the time she was 10, she was already sneaking into the warriors' training grounds, asking them to teach her how to fight. At first, they laughed. "What can this little girl do with a sword?" they teased. But when Amina picked up the sword and started swinging it, they were stunned. She wasn't just playing around, she was serious. Day after day, she trained with the warriors, her small hands gripping the heavy weapon until they were blistered. Her determination was unmatched. Eventually, even the toughest warriors in Zazzau began to respect her. Amina's father also noticed her unique spirit. Instead of discouraging her, he supported her. He would take her to council meetings, where the elders discussed the affairs of the kingdom. While other children might have been bored, Amina sat quietly, listening intently. Sometimes, she would ask questions that surprised even the wisest elders. Why do we trade so much salt with the north? But Amina's rise wasn't without challenges. Many of the elders in the council still resisted her influence. They believed the woman's place was in the home, not on the battlefield or in the halls of power. Amina, however, didn't fight them with anger or aggression. She fought them with results. Every time she led the army to victory, every time she secured a new alliance, she proved her worth. Slowly but surely, the resistance faded. People began to say, if anyone can lead Zazzau to greatness, it's Amina. When Amina finally became queen, she had one goal: to expand Zazzau's influence beyond its borders. She believed that Zazzau could be more than just a kingdom, it could be an empire. To achieve this, She led her armies on a series of campaigns that would go down in history as some of the most ambitious and successful in Africa. Amina's military campaigns were legendary. She didn't just march into battle blindly. She studied her enemies, learning their strengths and weaknesses. She used spies to gather intelligence and often negotiated with her enemies before resorting to war. But when war was necessary, Amina was ruthless. Her soldiers were fiercely loyal to her because they knew she fought alongside them. She wasn't the kind of leader who stayed behind in the safety of the palace. No, Amina was right there on the front lines, sword in hand, leading the charge. Her victories brought Zazzau great wealth. By controlling key trade routes, Amina ensured that goods from all over the region passed through her kingdom. This made Zazzau not just a military power but also an economic one. Under her rule, the kingdom thrived like never before. Amina's story isn't just one of battles fought or lands conquered. It's a story that speaks to something much deeper, something that resonates with all of us, no matter where we come from or what our background is. Her life teaches us lessons about strength, resilience, and breaking barriers that have held us back for generations. You see, in the time of Amina, there were very clear boundaries that told women what they could and couldn't do, what they were supposed to be and not to be. But Amina refused to be confined by these boundaries. She proved that leadership is not about your gender, your birthright, or your social status. It's about vision, courage, and the willingness to stand up for what you believe in. In a world where many people were trapped by the chains of tradition, Amina chose to forge her own path. She didn't wait for someone to give her permission to lead. She took it. This is the heart of her legacy. Leadership is not something you inherit because of who you are born to. It's something you earn, something you prove through your actions, your determination, and your ability to inspire others. What Amina teaches us is that strength doesn't come from just wielding a sword, but from having the courage to stand up when the world tries to tell you no, whether it's facing the resistance of a male-dominated council, fighting to protect your people, or having the wisdom to make strategic alliances. Amina showed us that leadership is about being bold and unapologetically true to who you are. Her story is a powerful reminder that no matter where we start from, we all have the potential to break free from the limits others set for us. Amina was a woman in a world that didn't expect women to lead armies or rule kingdoms, but she shattered that expectation. She broke down walls, both literal and metaphorical, and left a legacy that is still remembered today. Now, before we wrap up, I want you to pause and think for a moment. Out of everything you've heard about Queen Amina, her fierce determination, her courage to stand against the odds, the battles she fought, the empire she built, what resonates with you the most? Maybe it's the way she refused to let anyone define her future. Or perhaps it's her belief that leadership is not about titles or gender, but about the actions you take and the vision you have. Whatever part of her story stands out to you, it's more than just a story from the past. It's a reminder that within each of us, there is the potential to defy expectations, to challenge the norms, and to rise to greatness, no matter where we start from. So, let's have a conversation. I want to hear your thoughts, your reflections. What lesson did you learn from Queen Amina's journey? Did it inspire you to believe in your own power to lead, to make a difference, or to challenge the boundaries others have set for you? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts with us. Let's talk about the legacy of this incredible queen and what her story means for you in your life today. And if you felt inspired by Amina's story, her courage, her resilience, her determination to lead, don't forget to show your support by liking this video. It means more than just a click. It's a way to keep these incredible African stories alive and shared with others who need to hear them. Your like helps us tell more stories of greatness, of strength, of culture, stories that inspire and empower people everywhere. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our channel. There's a whole world of powerful, inspiring, and untold African stories waiting for you, stories that have shaped our history and continue to influence our present. By subscribing, you become a part of this journey with us, one that celebrates the richness, the strength, and the wisdom of African cultures. You'll be the first to hear the next story that might just change the way you see the world. And if you think this story of Queen Amina is one that someone you know would love, why not share it with them?